All right, aloha, friends. Another episode
Hi.
of Game Time with the Goss. I'm your host, Brian Gossett, with GM Sports Media. Today's guest, a dear old friend of mine. We go way back. Jessica Pauls, the assistant varsity coach at Keller High School. Thanks for jumping on, Jess, and good to see you.
Absolutely. It's good to see you too.
Softball has been a big part of your life. And I think you're going on year 4 now as an assistant with Keller, your alma mater. Um,
Yes.
when did you kind of decide you wanted to coach softball?
I've always kind of been involved in the game. Even when I was still playing in college, I was helping out my dad coach my younger sister's travel ball team. And it was always just kind of something I wanted to be a part of. And when I graduated, I have a film and TV production degree, which I think is pretty awesome. But I asked my dad, I sat down with my dad and I said, I don't know what I want to do. I'm really lost. Do I stay the softball route? Do I go my degree route? I'm really confused. And my dad gave me the best piece of advice I've ever gotten. He said, step away from softball for a year and see if it's something that you really want to do. And that's exactly what I did. I stepped away from softball completely, other than, following Michaela. But stepped away from softball completely. I got a big kid corporate job and loved every second of it. I was so happy. But I lasted about 11 months. I almost made my year mark. I was super close. And then I started coaching at Nolan Catholic, and I did that for 3 years. Loved every second of that. That school and the culture over there is just incredible, and I was really happy to be a part of that for 3 years. And but there's always been a part of me that I wanted to end up coaching back at Keller. I grew up there. I played I played wall ball on that main big brick wall that's
No
right
ball.
next to our coach's office. Um, Pelted some kids with tennis balls at a young age. There was there's a amazing woman that played softball at Keller back in the day. Her name is Allie Presswood, and her brother Brett and I were attached at the hip, and we were always at the games playing wall ball. We're the exact same age, and so my dad used to get on to me because I should be watching the game, but I was over there playing wall ball. So there was just this tie to Keller that I've always had, that I've always wanted to be a part of, and Christina Gwynn gave me that opportunity 4 years ago to join her staff, and I've been on cloud nine ever since. And so being a part of this staff is not only a dream come true, but it's life changing. It's been awesome.
Man, blast from the past, wall ball. I mean, I remember playing when intermediate school.
Oh yeah, that was the cool. What's fun is like when we have our home games, which, as you know, are packed. Seeing all the little kids over there still playing wall ball and
Yeah,
knowing that I did that is just puts the biggest smile on my face. I think it's awesome. So
awesome. Um, I've asked a few coaches this. When you coach anywhere, like for example, you at Nolan Catholic, and their success and you're winning games. Obviously, as a coach, you're happy for those special moments. But to do that sort of stuff with your school, your alma mater, for example, last year reaching the regional final, how much more
mhm.
special is that to you?
I don't think there's words that can express it, to be honest with you, because it's it's been a program that I've been a part of for so long. My older sister graduated in 2002. I graduated there in 11, and my younger sister graduated in 16 and was on the 16 state team. So I've grown up watching so much success that this program has had, 4 years of being a part of a lot of success playing in the program, and now to come full circle and be in the first base coaching box watching all this success this year. I mean, it's a dream come true. It's incredible.
Uh, I asked Megan White this,
Love her.
for Crowley and UT star,
Yeah, she's awesome.
and she's about 10 years before you.
Mhm.
And you graduated from Keller in 11, so it's been about 12, 13 years. Has the game changed since you played in high school?
I think part of it has. Um, just small aspects, as the world continues, the generation of kids, change and everything. But I think for the most part, it's still pretty similar. DFW softball has been iconic for a very long time, and you have all these programs that have had tremendous success, like us and Denton Geyer and Allen and um, all of these programs that have continued to have success just because of the kids that we have out of DFW. And I think that that's one thing that stayed true, is that this DFW hub of softball is a force to be reckoned with. And we've always made the joke that if you could take all those top kids from all those programs and take that team nationally, I mean, it would it would be a stellar team. But I mean, all the programs of DFW have always had so much success. There's always that conversation of, when you get down to that state tournament, there's always teams from DFW and there's teams from Houston. And that's what meet up. I mean, that Houston hub of softball and that South Texas hub of softball is incredible. And so when you face those two programs together, I mean, you're looking at, to me, some of the best softball you could ever watch, which is really exciting. And so I think that's what stayed true for sure.
Yeah, because Megan White graduated in 2004, so that was before the when the circle was still at 40 feet.
Correct.
So, a lot of 1-0 games, a lot of domination from the pitchers, and then
Oh yeah.
right, your sister played in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you started playing, the mound was already moved back. So
Correct.
there's
It
more
definitely went
offensive game.
from, yeah, definitely more of a pitcher's duel back then. I say back then. I hope nobody gets upset with that, but back then it was definitely a pitcher's game. You're 100% right. And I now with that 43 and that 43 feet and the emphasis on the offensive side of the game, it's definitely turned into a more higher scoring game. And that's super exciting. I know there's many fans in the world that don't want to sit through a 13 inning 1-0 softball game. I personally do. I think it's awesome. But people want to see the long ball. People want to see the offense, because that's super exciting. But you ask any coach, and there's this hidden art form to defense and pitching. And when you can come out of like I said, a 13 inning game and be victorious 1-0, there's nothing more. I mean, there's nothing more of a cooler feeling than coming out of a game like that. It's grueling, it's daunting, and I don't wish that upon any pitcher trying to pitch 13 innings and try to come out with that. But it's fun. It's different.
Talking with Jessica Pauls with Keller softball. You guys went to the regional final last year. Took Guy to game 3. Special group. When did it start clicking, and when did it start feeling like you guys could go that deep?
So we take our kids to the Barbers Hill tournament, the last week of February. It's on my calendar up there. And we go down there and we play Barbers Hill, we play Pearland, we play Deer Park, we play all those incredible programs, from South Texas. I mean, shout out to Pearland for winning state last year. They're just such a phenomenal program, top to bottom. And so we go down there knowing that we're going to face some incredible competition. And last year was the third year that I've been a part of us going down there. And last year was the first year that we left with a winning record of 4-2. And so when we left Houston, with just that amount of confidence, we were like, okay, like these kids knew that they could accomplish anything that was put in front of them. And our playoff run was no joke. I mean, we had to face Flower Mound, who is not only one of the best programs in the area, but one of the best coaching staffs in the area. And then, to face a district opponent is, I don't think, a task people realize how hard that is, because it's not easy to beat a team 4 times. And so to have a team that has seen you, that knows your lineup inside out, knows how your defensive plays, knows all of that, and then you also have that emotional ties, emotions tied to that to beat a district opponent. I mean, that was probably a series I'll never forget. And I mean, Scarf over there is awesome. She has developed just such a great program over there. And so to have just not only a powerhouse, within our district and a great team in our district, I mean, it was a tough playoff series, and I mean, to lose that close to state is something that I continuously lose sleep over. But I couldn't ask for anybody better to lose to, because in my opinion, I don't think there's anybody in the area better than Keith Medford. And he has been just such a staple to DFW softball for so long. I mean, he's incredible, and there's a reason why he's been so successful. Those kids buy into him. Um, his energy in the third base box is incredible. I mean, there's just so many. I just picture so many iconic images of him coaching, and it's one of those scenes. There's so much mutual respect there between our program and his, that you know, if I have to take a loss, I guess I'll take it to him.
Yeah, Keith Medford with Geyer entering his 19th season. They went to the state championship game for the first time in program history. Got to talk to him earlier this week.
Mhm.
So you guys are kind of starting now with scrimmages. I think first official games are coming up fast, but kind of a different look. Not really. You guys stayed in the program, but Chad Cribbs is the new head coach. Got hired in the summer. Christina Gwynn going to UNT. Again, Cribbs was on staff last year with you, uh,
Mhm.
but obviously, obviously, it's going from a female coach to a male coach. First time since 2017 with Brian Polar. But
Mhm.
what do you see going into this season? Is there going to be a kind of a different style to you guys?
I definitely think so. I think anytime anybody who has been a part of the game of softball knows that there's just an immediate difference when you have a female coach versus a male head coach. And Christina left such an incredible legacy here at Keller. She was incredibly successful, built so many foundations of this program that we have continued. Um, and she did such a good job. They definitely do have a lot of similarities for sure. Christina and Chad are two of the most competitive people I have ever met in my entire life. And so the mindset of, you know, intensity has definitely remained true. Um there so we have a thing that we do in our program that every year our seniors pick a word that goes on the back of one of our practice shirts. So we wear a different colored practice shirt every day. And every year the seniors pick one. Well, we have two seniors this year, Sadie Beck and Maggie Crow, who picked the word compete on the back of our shirt. And that is, I think, the truest word that fits Chad's coaching style is compete. We are going to compete in everything we do, whether it is putting a ball on the tee and taking swings every day, whether it's taking ground balls, whether it's walking to Sonic, whether it's whatever we're doing, we are going to compete. And I think that's a mindset that he has branded in our brain this year that I think is going to make us very successful. Is if you take the idea of no matter what aspect of this game that you're doing and you compete, you're going to put up a good fight. And he's intense. I'm not going to deny that fact by any means, and I think it's awesome. But I also don't think I've ever met someone who has loved these kids more and puts more time and more effort and more thought into this program. And he's going to stick around a while, and I think we're going to see a lot of success out of him as head coach for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, Gwen, you a lot of success in her 6 years, but also as a player, winning state
mm-hmm.
2003 with Keller. So
Yep.
wish her the best at UNT. So just give me a rundown of kind of the players. How many seniors did you have last year?
We had 11, 13, including our two managers.
Okay.
We had quite a bit.
How many starters that graduated?
um, that would have been one, two, four. We're looking at four starters that graduated last year.
Okay. So
Yep.
even though you lose a lot, you kind of bring back a good chunk of experience. Sadie
Yes.
Beck in the circle. Uh,
Yes.
you had two freshmen last year that are back,
Hmm.
and Kaya, your catcher, one of the best catchers in the area. So uh,
Hands down.
even though you lose so much from last year, what do you think about coming back this year, and you do have a lot of experience back?
I think the key to a successful program in high school for sure is playoff experience, because there is nothing that I think is more difficult in our sport than playing the grueling playoff link that we play in 6A softball. It is a lot of games, and it is emotionally and physically draining every year. And so to have basically our full lineup coming back, um, and having that deep run and playoff experience, not only do they feel comfortable in that scenario, but also they're hungry. Like they want to take that next step that they fell short of last year. And so the just like I went back to earlier, that intensity and that compete level this year is massive. And I think that's what happens when you get that close to making it to Austin and you fall short. People will do anything to get that. And I think that's what we're seeing. We have Sadie back in the circle. We have Kaya Fabella behind the dish. We have taken a first baseman and turned her into a third baseman with Carly Ginzer, probably one of the tallest third basemen I've ever seen. But she has it locked down over there. We have McKenna Jackson back at shortstop, who is probably one of the smoothest shortstops I've seen in a really long time. We've taken a third baseman catcher in Landry Beeman and turned her into a second baseman, and she has just been rock solid over there. We have Sedona Miser at first base, who has just been so solid offensively and at first. She's just such a smooth first baseman, and she just looks so comfortable over there. And we have basically a four-man rotation in the outfield with Brooke Eggleton, senior Maggie Crow, Cambry Cribbs, and then we actually have a junior move-in from the Westlake Academy with Ainsley Gross, and she has brought some incredible speed to our lineup as well. I thought we were pretty fast last year, but we gained some wheels this year with her coming in, and those four, have just been on a solid rotation in the outfield. And we have Addie Clark and Gracie Johnson, and we also have an additional freshman pitcher with Presley, and so that whole dynamic, we have a smaller roster size this year, but everybody has taken on a role of playing anywhere, and that multiple like rotation that we've done in scrimmages so far were kind of a lot of plug and play, where to see different views of how this defensive lineup is going to set up, and it's been awesome, and everybody's bought in, so I'm excited.
So last year, and I think even couple years before that too, you guys, in terms of pitching, you have a rotation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna rely heavy on Sadie, or are you gonna have the same sort of game plan with she's gonna have some help?
Oh, I mean, there has to be a rotation. I mean, we can't put all of our games on Sadie. I mean, mentally, can she handle it? Absolutely. She's one of the toughest kids I've ever seen in the circle. But we have some underclassmen pitching that I think is really going to help us step up. Presley has come in as a freshman and has done a great job. She works super hard. We also have some great pitching on JV that we've thrown into some of our scrimmages that have done a great job. So we're definitely in that mindset of figuring out what that rotation is going to look like, especially during the tournament season where we're playing 6 games in 3 days. I mean, Sadie can't throw all six 3 weeks in a row.
Mm.
And so we've really Cribbs and I have done a really good job about talking about what that pitching rotation is going to look like. To be successful, it's tough having just one. And we also don't want to put that strain and that stress on Sadie either. She has an incredible career ahead of her at Tarleton, and we want her to be 100% ready for that coming in next year. And so we want to be super successful this year, but that means it's going to take everybody, and especially in the circle.
Talking with Jessica Pauls at Keller High School. So you kind of mentioned the game 3 in the regional final. You still kind of think about it, but
Yep.
do you guys use that as any motivation? Do you have something circled in the locker room, or is it just kind of clean slate?
I definitely think that you have to have a little bit of both, right? So you have to have that clean slate that, hey, this is a new year. We know how last year ended, but there's nothing we can do about that now, right? It's happened, it's moved on, it's gone. But I think you also have to remind them a little bit of the that taste that they got of how close they got. And so I think it's just more of a mindset reminder of, hey, look, we plan on ending this year in Austin. Like that is our goal. That's everyone's goal playing in high school sports, is ending their year in Austin. And so definitely more of subtle reminders on our end as a staff of, look, we are one game short. We're going to get one game closer next year at least, you know? And so, but you also have to have that mindset of, this year's new. Dynamic looks different. Coaching staff looks different. And so I think there's definitely a fine line where you have to have a little bit of both for sure.
When you were playing, what was your deepest playoff run?
That that fifth round of the regional finals.
Okay.
We lost to Plano in 2011 at Texas Women's in Game 3. That was, a while ago, and unfortunately I still remember it. But so I know I'm not bitter about it or anything. But I think when you get that close, it's hard. It's hard to fall short. It really is, and it eats at you. But I think as tough as that was for a player, I think it's twice as difficult as a coach, because you sit there and you watch these kids put all their work in, all that time and effort in, the time in the weight room, the time in the classroom, the time on the road, and then to watch them fall short of their goal is just excruciating. I mean, it's hard. And, it's, you want, as a coach, of course, everybody wants to be a part of a state championship. I mean, who doesn't? Anybody who's a competitor wants to be a part of a state championship. But the image that I have in my head for Austin is watching those kids run out to that circle together. That's the image that I have. And so every year when you don't get to see that image, it hurts a little bit more. But last year when you came that close to seeing that image, it was tough.
Do you remember how far Courtney went? Because if she graduated in 2002, she just missed out on the state titles.
She did. She's not bitter about that either. I'll be honest, I don't remember off the top of my head. I was fairly young on that point. I know they always made a deep playoff run. I mean, you talked about talent back in the day. There was so much talent in that program for so long. But they always, the perk of our program is we've always made playoff runs.
Yeah.
And so for as long as I can remember.
Well, I mean, your younger sister, Michaela, got to win state.
Yep.
Does she still kind of bring that up at Thanksgiving? And
Oh, not of course. Out of the three of us that all played softball at Keller, and only one of us won a state championship. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like on a plaque somewhere in my parents' living room. But I'll be honest, I was a part of a first conference championship win at my university. I've seen a lot of success as a player, but I go back to what I said earlier: is when you get to watch somebody that you love, like my sister, accomplish something that she has wanted, was the coolest thing I've ever gotten to be a part of. And I remember hugging my dad and hugging my mom and then hugging my dad again because he was crying and we were all crying. And, my older sister was down in Austin for that too. And so to celebrate that as a family was just awesome, And so there's a picture on my dad's desk of all five of us holding the state championship trophy. And I have it framed in my classroom as well too. And just to be able to be a part of that as a family, I think is something we will always remember, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's when 2016 when she was a senior. Uh,
Hmm.
they did go back to back with 2017, but
Yep.
um, got to cover both years. I do remember fondly having fun in 2016, and we'll
Yes.
leave it at that. But
That
uh,
was that was a fun group.
yeah, well, I do remember the picture because I believe they had five seniors, and
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever been to the state tournament at UT. The
Mhm.
teams go down, by right field, and there's an exit, and then
Mhm.
you all see your families and stuff on the street. And
Mhm.
I still remember just the five seniors holding hands, and yeah, uh,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that was a great year, great team, and great group of girls. And um,
Something about that year that I think a lot of people probably either don't realize or forget about was Birdville won state that year too in 2016. And so, I mean, us and Birdville are what, 10 minutes away from each other. And so we all got there early to watch Birdville win. And again, just like you said, like I don't know if you've ever been to Austin, but everybody has to exit the stadium for the next group of fans to come in. So we all got there early to watch Birdville, exited, we all went in, and then all the Birdville fans came in to stay and watch us. And so to experience that with us in Birdville that year was pretty cool. That was awesome.
oh yeah, that was one of my favorite years, just to see Keller and Birdville win.
Yep.
Um, I'll let you get on out of this. Again, the season's coming up. Just tell us, what's coming up. You got maybe one more scrimmage. Who do you open up with officially, and then what tournaments are you headed to this year?
Yeah, so we've got a couple more scrimmages in the book. Tomorrow we are, or not tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow we are actually out at Lovejoy High School. We're gonna play Flower Mound and Lovejoy. We always play Flower Mound and Lovejoy every year. Um, talk about another two more programs with two great coaching staffs. Um, and so, us and Lovejoy have really started to kind of build a bond with our coaching staffs. They're great over there. The Flower Mound staff has always been top notch, so that's where we'll be at. And then on the 12th, we have our first official game against Rockwall. We always start our season off with Rockwall. It's always been close games every time we play there. I believe we lost last year to them 1-0 first game of the season, and so they're always super competitive and well coached. And then our three tournaments, we're in the 40 tournament every year, so we're always looking at playing Lake Ridge, Aledo, Prosper, Allen, all again a bunch of great DFW programs. And then after that, we're always in the Mansfield tournament. So again, more stellar DFW playing Aledo, Joshua, Granbury, Richland, and Boswell. And then the last week of February, first week of March is when we go down to Barbers Hill to Houston, and we play. We play Barbers Hill, we play Deer Park, we play Katy, we play the Woodlands, we play Pearland, and we play Lovejoy. And I mean, you talk about a tough weekend of softball. That's a tough weekend of softball playing six incredible programs. And so, the month of February kind of gets a little bit insane, but it's part of it. And then district starts March 5th against Eaton, so it's right around the corner.
Awesome. I got squeezing one more here. I'm kind of skipping ahead to next year, but any thoughts about the new district? I know realignment came out, at least
Mm-hmm.
for um, volleyball, football, and basketball, and
Mm-hmm.
but I'm pretty sure softball is going to look the same for your district. Just what do you
Mm-hmm.
think about the new district?
I'm excited.
Because now it's the nine-team district. I think you have
Yeah,
seven.
that's
So
no a nine team district is massive. It
yeah,
is, and you're looking at a lot more district games. But I personally I think that's kind of exciting because I think that makes you know those district games a little bit more intense because anything can happen in that amount of games.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're looking at, the three Keller schools coming back. You have us, you have Keller Central, you have Timber Creek, two awesome programs. Byron Nelson, Eaton, and Southlake, who we've had in our district for the last couple of years, awesome programs. And then now we're looking at adding um, the two HEB schools with Aldebel and Trinity, and then we're also looking at adding Northwest. And so that district schedule just got a little bit more intense.
'Cause
We're
you have
definitely
seven
gaining some awesome
teams.
programs.
You have 7 teams now.
Hmm.
You lose Fossil Ridge, who went down to 5A, and you
Correct.
gained three, not only just 3 teams, but 3 playoff teams. So now,
Yes.
I mean, essentially, like if you go back last year, you still have the 4 playoff schools in that district, and
Hmm.
add 3 more. So that's
Right.
7 playoff schools.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, so that fight to be those top four teams out of that district to go to playoffs is going to be grueling. But I think that what's going to be great about a district like that is the four teams that are going to come out of there are going to be the four best teams, and that can be anybody. And so that's going to be super exciting. And I tell you what, I'll put that district up against anybody else because it's going to be four tough teams to beat in the playoffs for sure.
Now, I don't know if you're involved in scheduling or not, but I see it sometimes in volleyball. But when you have a 9 team district, one district starts like 1 or 2 weeks earlier.
Hmm.
But I wasn't sure if that means you still have 3 tournaments or you have to drop a tournament. So we'll have to see, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and that's conversations that Chad and I are starting to have early, is just what next year is going to look like, and what we want to, nobody wants to give up games by any means. And
Yeah.
so, and we've always been known of having a pretty tough preseason schedule. We like it that way. Um, and so we don't want to lose a lot of those games, but a lot of those tournaments are pretty important to us. And so we're looking at February, we're looking a year away from now, and that's conversations that Chad and I are already having. And so we'll obviously come up with what we think is best, but it's gonna take some conversations and a lot of calendars and pencil for a little bit until we figure out what that's gonna look like.
So realignment was Thursday. Is that something that you and Chad, you're waiting for it to be released at 9, or is it later in the day
Um,
out?
we kind of had a little bit of fun with it on our end. We tried to guess, because obviously immediately, it's football and volleyball that and basketball, I believe,
Yeah.
right, that get released first. And ours are always, I want to say 3 weeks later, I think is what it is. But from my knowledge, we always stay pretty similar to what volleyball is.
Yeah.
And so we kind of spent the last month or so kind of guessing what we thought it was going to look like, and we got pretty close.
Yeah, I
So,
didn't, you know, I didn't think Trinity and Bell would join you. I knew Northwest was coming up, so you still had, I guess, 17, or would have had 7 teams there. But
mhm.
um, yeah, I mean, 6A didn't really surprise me at all in the redistrict. The only one, Mansfield in District 3, was kind of the only head scratcher. I thought they
Yeah.
would have been in the same district or with Arlington ISD, but they're in District 3 now. So that's the
Mhm.
only surprise. And someone at the realignment even kind of was wondering, like, District 3 is a 7 team district, and your district, District 4, is a 9 team district. Why not just have two?
Even it out. Right.
You
Well,
can guess all you want.
all I did,
You can guess all you want, and UIL's, you never know.
all I know is I'm glad that's not part of my job description. Is coming up with district realignments. I'm glad somebody else does that, because it would stress me out too much. That's for sure.
Well, I'll get you. Finally, just kind of, um, I don't know. What do you want people to know about, Keller this year, and try to tell us, hey, come up to the Keller games. It's going to be a good time. I'll let you take the floor here.
So, we've done a great job this year, growing our community involvement. And so the city of Keller is such a tight knit community. If you've never just been there longer than a day, I tell everybody it's small town vibes in a bigger city. And so, we did something awesome in the fall where we partnered up with Station One, the fire station. And Fire Station One put our whole program, all 27 of our girls, through their PT, uh, like basically enrollment course.
Yeah.
And so they put all the fire equipment on, all the helmets, climbed the ladder, drug the hoses, did all that type of stuff. And so we've really just done a lot to kind of partner up with the community and grow that community involvement. And so something that we do every year that I don't think a lot of people realize is all of our home games are actually themed, which is pretty awesome. So we always try and have somebody that comes out and throws the first pitch that's kind of tied to our theme. Our home opener against Rockwall, we actually have the city of Keller mayor coming out to throw out our first pitch. We always do a strikeout for cancer game. That one I'm really excited about. We actually have a former Keller high school soccer alum that's coming out to throw the first pitch. She is currently battling ovarian cancer. Shout out Kelsey, she's killing it. She's doing a great job and she's fighting and she just has a great head on her shoulders. And so to have her come out and throw out that first pitch is going to be amazing. We're doing a first responder night. So we're inviting all of the local firefighters, police officers, emergency responders to come out for our first responder night. We do a teacher appreciation night because teachers don't get enough love, in my opinion. And we always have our amazing principal, Miss Simmons, throw out our first pitch. But probably my favorite night is KYA nights. So we partner up with KYA, the Keller Youth Association, and any youth player that wears her KYA jersey gets in free. And so we always have them line up for introductions and all that stuff. And that's really exciting to see kind of not only the future of Keller, but just the future of Keller ISD to be out there and see what those games look like and see all the stars on their eyes and all that excitement is really fun. And then every year we always let our seniors pick a theme night and they picked 80s night. So we're going with 80s night. So we're going to have 80s music and just a great vibe that's going to be out there. And then obviously we always do a senior night. And so that's always super special. We have our senior dads throw out the first pitches. I cry pretty much every year. So that's to be expected.
A lot shorter this year.
Yes, significantly. Yes, we went from 11 to 2. So we're gonna look at our watches and realize it's over. We're gonna have so much extra time on our hands. But you've come to our home games. They're energetic. Our dugout is not well liked for many reasons, and it's because of how loud we are. Yeah. And so we have our props, we have our chants, we have our yells. We have our hoot and hollers, as the girls like to call it this year. And so, it's something we're kind of known of for our dugout energy. And so you don't really know what that feels like until you're there standing right next to that blue wall and you can't hear this side of your ear for for 7 innings. But the one thing you'll know coming to our home games is you're going to leave with a smile on your face because it's going to be the most energetic thing that you'll sit through for a long time, and that's what we take a lot of pride in. So
the firefighter test, it was only meant for players.
Yes, so they got onto us a little bit. They got onto us a little bit that we didn't do it, but we officially decided that that's going to be an annual thing that we do every fall. And Chad and I will definitely participate next year. Now that I kind of got an idea of what we're doing. I wanted to see it first.
Okay.
But yeah, so it'll be something that our program does every fall, and it's going to be a staple of our program, I think, for a while, just because it brought so much energy and so much passion together with all of them, and we wanted them to know that they can accomplish anything. I mean, we had some that had a fear of heights that climbed the ladder. We had some that didn't think they were strong enough to carry the hose and did, and then they carried a body dummy, and that's just, teaching life lessons of, hey, if there's ever an emergency, you can handle this, and so not only did they accomplish something together, but a lot of them as individuals realized that they can accomplish things that they didn't think they could accomplish. And I think we gained a lot out of that, and I'm excited to do that again next year. So
I'm guessing they were pretty sore the next day.
Yeah, yeah. We usually the day it fell on, we were gonna lift the next day, but
No.
Chad and I were let him off easy that day.
Awesome. Hey, if you get Hawaiian theme night, I'll volunteer first pitch.
Oh, I couldn't think of anybody better. That's outstanding. I think that sounds great.
And I will pitch. I don't know how do they pitch overhand? What do they do? The
Well,
push.
it's so funny. Our fantastic mayor of Keller asked me the exact same question when I met with him. He goes, "Do I have to throw it overhand? Do I have to throw it underhand?" I said, "Sir, you do it however you would like to."
Okay.
So,
I've done a first
um,
pitch before and in Granbury, and I did overhand, and I got some slack for it. Mine
nah.
mine was an obvious ball. The catcher did help me out by picking it out the dirt. So I think if I did overhand, it might just go straight up and over. So I don't know.
Whatever you feel comfortable with, we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Well, Jess, uh, good to see you and talk to you. Appreciate the time, and
You too.
come out to some games. But we wish you the best for the Keller Indians this year.
Thank you, and thanks for everything you've always done for us. We appreciate you so much, man, for sure. So,
Awesome. That's Jessica Pauls, assistant varsity at the Keller softball, and the season's almost here officially.
yep.
February 12th is the first official game for the UIL. So that'll do it for Game Time with the Goss, GM Sports Media. I'm Brian Gossett. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.